To give you a perspective of the California Highway Patrol and what we do, we are basically the traffic law enforcement branch for county governments. And then we also provide service on all the freeways through the cities. In the city, it's the city police that does both the penal code violations and the vehicle code violations. So as you expect service for traffic law enforcement in the counties, that would be us. Most Indian land is in the county. I was not able to find any city properties that have tribes in them. And for background, I am a Hopland Band of Pomo Indian member, tribal member. So I do know that we have our own tribal police, and they can handle some of the things that I'm going to bring forward. But the problem is, as we move forward to try to look at safety issues on tribal land, is you expect the California Highway Patrol to be able to provide that service to you. Public Law 280 only allows law enforcement to enforce criminal action, not civil regulatory. Most of the vehicle code is civil regulatory. So when there is a collision or there is a traffic issue on your reservations, it is very difficult for us to enforce the law, unless it is like a state highway that runs through your tribal land, and we happen to see a violation, we stop the vehicle for a violation. Depending upon the person driving the car is whether or not we're going to be able to take some sort of action on that individual. Non-tribal member running on Highway 101 through Indian country, we're going to write them a ticket. Tribal member on 101 through their reservation, it depends what they're doing. And that's what becomes difficult for us in providing service to you. Because we, as responsible members of law enforcement who want to take and provide service to you, you have a crash on your reservations. We have to document it in a way that is going to represent what has transpired. But because it's on a reservation and there's maybe no injury and there's probably no violation in terms of the vehicle code, if you want us to take a collision, you have to ask us. There's no law that requires us to take that collision. Now, if there is a fatal collision, we're going to come and we're going to document that crash. But the primary collision factor, like if you crash off the reservation, there is a vehicle code that says this is the reason why they crashed. If it's running a stop sign, there's a vehicle code violation for that. If they're speeding, there's a vehicle code violation for that. If you crash on the reservation and it's a fatal collision, it's basically marked other than driver, because there's no vehicle code that applies on the reservation. So you can see how difficult it is for us to provide service to you. There has to be collaboration. You have to want to collaborate with us because we are willing to collaborate with you, and that's the rub. We will come to you if invited, but we don't force ourselves. The Highway Patrol doesn't, and force ourselves to you and say, you are going to meet with us. We're there for you. We want to be there for you. We want to start those dialogues, and we invite you to have the local commander. There's a couple in the back of the room, to come to your reservation and begin those conversations. Because let's face it, it's going to be very difficult for us to come onto your sovereign land and do something for you that you don't want us to be there for. So we're asking that you come and invite us, and then start those dialogues, and we will work together to try to help you manage your traffic safety issues on your tribal land. The way we look at it is, if it's a misdemeanor or felony, basically if we can take you to jail out of the vehicle code, that's what we're going to enforce. So it would be like reckless driving, DUI. Now, while I say that, DUI, how do we stop you? Because if you run a stop sign, that provision, running a stop sign, is not something enforceable on Indian line.
So you consider that civil regulatory?
Civil regulatory because it's an infraction. Anything that is an infraction is civil regulatory. Anything that's misdemeanor or above is criminal. However, if in the course of the observations the officer feels that they are reckless, because there is a provision for reckless driving, then we will stop you for the reckless violation. And in the course of that investigation, we determine you to be under the influence of drugs or alcohol, then we can make an arrest. However, admin per se cannot be enforced on the reservation. That's civil regulatory. And admin per se is the way we take your blood and alcohol measurements. So there's handcuffs that exist for us in enforcing the vehicle code on Indian land.